Before our road trip, my daughter said, "Let's not take Highway 6. I asked, "Why?" She said, "I just have a bad feeling." That sentence keeps playing in my head like a low-grade fever dream. Simple, quiet, unassuming. Just a little request from a 12-year-old. No drama. No explanation. If I'd listened, if I'd taken the scenic route, added 45 minutes to the drive, picked up breakfast somewhere in town, maybe none of this would have happened. But that morning it was just a line in the air. And I was tired, stupid, hopeful. It was a quiet summer morning in the suburbs. Too quiet. The kind where even the birds sound like they're whispering. I was strapping down the last duffel bag to the roof rack when Lily walked outside, clutching a half-zipped hoodie and her phone. "Everything packed?" I asked, wiping sweat from my forehead. "Tablet charged? Weird audiobook downloaded?" She nodded without looking at me. This trip was supposed to be a reset. Our first big thing since the courts had officially stamped my custody rights. No more lawyers. No more late-night calls. No more Marissa. Just me and my daughter, the open road, and a cabin I overpaid for in a town with no cell towers. I closed the trunk and looked at her. "You ready?" She hesitated. "Can we not take Highway 6? I paused, hand still resting on the handle. "What?" I asked, turning toward her. She shrugged, her eyes flicking toward the street like she was expecting something to roll up and ruin the moment. "I just have a bad feeling." I laughed, but it came out thin. "That's specific. Highway 6 got a great gas station burrito place." She didn't smile. That's when I noticed the tremble in her fingers, the way her body tensed, like she was bracing for something. "Come on, Lily," I said gently. "It's 40 minutes faster, and we'll be through it before lunch. You sure you're not just nervous?" She didn't answer, just looked down at her shoes and hugged herself. I told myself it was the divorce, the aftermath. The kind of wound that doesn't bleed but still bruises. I gave her a nod. "Okay, we'll just hit the road and see how traffic is. Deal?" She still didn't say anything, but she opened the passenger door and climbed in. We didn't talk much for the first 30 minutes. Lily put in her earbuds and stared out the window while I flipped through radio stations that all seemed allergic to decent music. I kept glancing at her, hoping for a smile, a joke, something light, but she just kept her arms folded, one leg tucked under her. When we hit the Highway 6 on-ramp, she took her earbuds out. "We're going this way?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's the fastest route," I said, trying not to sound like I was defending a war crime. "GPS says no delays." She didn't argue. She just slowly leaned back in her seat and started chewing her thumbnail. I tried to lighten the mood. You know, back in the day, Highway 6 was where all the best diners were. Milkshakes, jukeboxes, neon signs, total 80s road trip vibes. Lily didn't laugh. She didn't even look at me. 5 more miles in, she shifted in her seat and adjusted the side mirror. Then she did it again, and again. Each time more subtle, more deliberate. "You good?" I asked. She nodded once, but she was still looking at the mirror. "What are you looking for?" She hesitated, then said, "I think we're being followed." The words were so soft I almost didn't catch them. I glanced at her, then checked my own mirror. Just a few cars behind us, spaced out. A silver truck, a dark SUV, a white sedan. "Followed?" I asked, trying to chuckle. "What, like spy movie Followed?" She turned to me. Her face was pale. "I saw that SUV when we left the neighborhood. Then it was at the gas station on Miller. And it's been behind us since the last rest stop." "Which one?" She blinked. "The one where you got the orange Gatorade. That was over 30 minutes ago." I flicked my eyes back to the mirror. The SUV she was talking about had dark-tinted windows. No front plate. Low to the ground like someone had installed aftermarket suspension. It wasn't tailgating, but it was steady. Too steady. Probably just someone heading the same way. I muttered, more to myself than to her. Lily crossed her arms and stared straight ahead. I tried to laugh again, but it caught in my throat. "You okay?" I asked. She said nothing for a while. Then, she said she wouldn't do anything. She just wanted to say goodbye. I frowned. "Who?" But she shook her head quickly. "Nothing." My stomach twisted. Something wasn't right. This wasn't the ordinary silence of a preteen kid mad at her dad over cereal or screen time. This was fear, measured, controlled, as if she'd rehearsed it. I felt the sweat start to creep down my back despite the AC. And for the first time all day, I started to wonder whether Lily's bad feeling had nothing to do with traffic or roads, or even a ghost from the past. Maybe it had everything to do with what she already knew, and what she hadn't told me yet. The gas station felt like it had been abandoned in the middle of a thought. It squatted on the edge of Highway 6 like a forgotten sentence. Low, square, sun-bleached to the color of old teeth. The only pump still working had a cash-only sign duct-taped to it. An American flag fluttered limply from a pole next to a stack of busted ice coolers, and the vending machine out front blinked midnight like it had given up on telling time. I pulled in without thinking, needing to stretch, grab snacks, maybe splash cold water on my face. Lily didn't say a word. She just hugged her knees in the passenger seat and stared straight ahead like a mannequin left behind in the wrong display window. "You coming in?" I asked, shutting off the engine. She shook her head slowly. "I'll wait here." "You sure?" Another nod. Tight, mechanical. I hesitated, keys in hand, watching her face for any flicker of something human. But she had that look kids get when they've been told not to talk. Shoulders tight, jaw locked, fear swimming just under the surface. I didn't press, just left the air conditioning running and stepped inside. The interior smelled like wet wood and burnt sugar. A man who may or may not have been alive dozed behind the counter, a half-crushed styrofoam cup sitting in front of him. I grabbed a couple of sodas and pretzels and headed back out within 2 minutes. That's when I saw the SUV. It rolled in slowly, tires whispering against the gravel, sunlight glinting off tinted glass. It didn't park by the pumps, just near the edge of the lot, far enough to keep distance, close enough to watch. And then the door opened. She stepped out like she'd never left, like she belonged to the place. Same posture, same too skinny frame dressed in expensive casuals, yoga pants that had never seen a gym, oversized sunglasses that swallowed her face. Her hair was longer than I remembered, a shade darker. Her jaw was sharper, like the weight had left her uneven. But it was her. "Marissa." I froze mid-step, pretzels crinkling in my hand. She leaned against the SUV and lit a cigarette with a steady hand. No smile, no nod, just those reflective lenses fixed on me, unreadable. I looked back at the car. Lily was still inside, motionless, face turned toward the window, but not looking out. She wasn't surprised. She wasn't curious. She already knew. Marissa took a drag from the cigarette, exhaled sideways, and then, without a word, got back in her vehicle and pulled out. No confrontation. No screaming across the parking lot. No, "I want my daughter back." Just smoke, silence, and exit. I bolted for the car, threw the snacks in the passenger footwell, and started the engine. "Seatbelt," I said quickly, eyeing the mirror. The SUV was already gone. "Did you see?" I started. But Lily was looking at her shoes. She didn't answer. I turned out of the lot, scanning every crossroad, every turnout, every blind corner. Nothing. The black SUV had vanished into traffic like it had been absorbed by the heat haze. I checked the rear view again, then again. Still nothing. "Was that her?" I finally asked. Lily didn't move. "Lily." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She blinked and I saw it just for a second, the guilt bleeding through. "I don't know," she whispered. "You don't know? I didn't think she'd." She caught herself, swallowed hard. "She said she just wanted." I waited. Every inch of me was on edge. "She said she just wanted to talk." Lily finished. "Not like this." I didn't say anything. Couldn't. My grip tightened on the wheel until my knuckles went pale. The rest of the drive was suffocating silence. Even the radio was too loud, the soft crackle between stations sounding like static from an old TV playing somewhere deep in my chest. We stopped 2 towns over, at a budget motel that looked like it was holding itself together with caution tape and roach spray. I paid in cash. Didn't use my last name. Habit, maybe. Instinct. Lily followed me into the room and sat on the edge of the bed without removing her shoes. I watched her for a while. How still she was. How much space she took up emotionally, even while curled into herself. Then I turned and looked out the window, scanning the parking lot. No SUV. But it didn't matter. I wasn't dumb. That hadn't been a coincidence. She'd known exactly where we'd be. And now I had to face the part that scared me most. My daughter wasn't surprised. The motel room smelled like mildew and lemon cleaner, the kind of chemical cocktail you only notice when you're too anxious to sleep. The lights flickered when I turned them on, buzzing like a bug zapper behind the plastic wall sconces. I checked the locks 3 times before setting my keys on the dresser, then pulled the curtains closed so tight that not even a sliver of sunset could break through. Lily sat on the bed, arms tucked around her knees, hoodie zipped up to her chin. She hadn't spoken since the gas station. Her face was pale, and she hadn't touched the bag of pretzels I tossed her hours ago. I didn't ask her anything, not yet. My stomach was a cement block, my hands jittery, my heart slow and loud. There's something worse than being lied to, knowing you're about to be told the truth, and dreading it with every bone in your body. I made a half-hearted attempt at brushing my teeth, then stepped outside for just a second, needing air. The lot was empty except for a beat-up pickup and a white compact parked sideways. No sign of the black SUV. Still, I scanned every car, every corner. Twice. When I returned, a folded piece of paper lay on the carpet, just inside the door. I stared at it. It hadn't been there before. Not under my boot. Not when I first came in. I would have seen it. I shut the door, bolted it, and picked the paper up with 2 fingers. The handwriting was stiff and unfamiliar, like someone trying too hard to disguise it. She told me everything. You'll pay. It wasn't signed. Just that. 7 words that hit harder than any scream could have. I turned toward Lily, the note crumpling in my hand. What is this? Her eyes flicked up, startled, but she didn't answer. Someone slid this under our door. Is this a joke? She shook her head slowly. I stepped forward, trying to keep my voice steady. You knew she'd be there, at the gas station. Lily flinched. I didn't know she'd follow us. I swear. How long, Lily? Silence. How long have you been talking to your mom? She cracked. Tears welled instantly, her bottom lip trembling like a branch in the wind. She opened her mouth, then closed it, then finally whispered, a few weeks. My knees buckled slightly, and I had to sit down on the edge of the other bed. I didn't mean to, she rushed out, words spilling now. She messaged me on that game app, the one you deleted. I re-downloaded it, and she was just there. Why didn't you tell me? I was scared. Of her? Or of me? Her face collapsed. Both. I put my hands over my face, then dragged them down slowly, as if I could peel away what I was hearing. Lily, what did she say to you? She said she missed me, that she wasn't mad about the custody, that she'd been in therapy and wanted to make things right. And you believed her? She said it wasn't fair how things ended, that I never got to say goodbye. A lump formed in my throat. So she wanted a goodbye? Lily nodded. She said she'd be nearby when we left town, that if I could just tell her where we were headed, she'd find us, say what she needed to say, and leave. And that was it? She said you'd never forgive me if you found out, but that it would be okay. Because after she saw me, she'd go back to treatment. The note in my hand burned like poison now. You told her where we were going? Only a little, Lily whispered. Just the first hotel. I didn't think she'd actually come. I thought if I kept it vague, it'd be harmless. I stood, pacing in the cramped space. She knew our route. The gas station. The motel. I tried to stop it, she cried. That's why I told you not to take Highway 6. That's where she said she'd be. I was trying to avoid her. I froze. That line again. Let's not take Highway 6. Suddenly, it made perfect sense, and none at all. She was just a kid. She'd been cornered, played, manipulated, and I'd walked her right into the trap anyway. I sank to the floor in front of her and gently took her hands. You should have told me, I said softly. I know, but I'm not mad at you. Not really. Her face crumpled further. I'm mad at her, I continued, because she used you. She knew how much you wanted things to be okay, and she twisted it. Lily nodded rapidly, tears spilling over. I didn't want to help her. I didn't. I know, Bug. I know. We sat there for a long time, the hum of the ice machine outside barely audible through the walls. I stared at the motel smoke detector, its tiny red light blinking like it was watching us. mocking us. Eventually, Lily whispered, "What are we going to do?" I stood up and walked to the desk, flattened the note with the back of my hand and stared at the words again. She told me everything. "You'll pay." I folded it back up slowly, then met Lily's eyes. "We fight back," I said. Her brow furrowed. "How?" "We stop hiding. And we stop pretending she's harmless." We didn't sleep that night. Not really. Lily dozed off in spurts, curled up under the stiff motel blanket with one arm still wrapped around her backpack like someone might try to take it in the dark. I sat by the window, phone charger wrapped around my fingers like a rosary, watching the parking lot for anything that moved. The note was still folded in my pocket. I couldn't bring myself to throw it away. Around 6 a.m. I made a decision. We were done playing scared. I called Olivia. My sister answered on the second ring, voice thick with sleep. "Nathan? You okay?" "No," I said. "I need your help." She sat up. I could hear it in the background, the shift in posture, the clatter of something knocking over on her nightstand. "Where are you?" "A motel 2 hours upstate. I think Marissa's trying to set me up. She's been talking to Lily behind my back." There was a pause. "What kind of setup?" "I don't know yet," I admitted. "But I think she's planning to say I kidnapped Lily." Olivia let out a slow, careful breath. "Okay, start from the beginning." I gave her the short version, the gas station, the SUV, the note, the confession. When I finished, there was silence on her end for a few beats. "I need access to Lily's phone," she said finally. "Deleted messages, voicemails, anything that might give us leverage." Lily didn't hesitate when I asked. She handed over her phone like it was toxic, like she was relieved someone else was taking responsibility for it. Olivia walked me through the steps to create a backup and transfer the data. She texted me a download link for a recovery tool. "You're not doing anything illegal," she added quickly. "But once we have the files, you need to send everything to someone official. Don't keep this in-house." "You thinking cops?" "I'm thinking Alden." Detective Marcus Alden had been the one honest voice during my custody nightmare. He couldn't testify in family court, but he'd pulled me aside more than once, off the record, and told me I wasn't crazy for worrying about Marissa's manipulation, that if anything ever felt off, I should call him directly. It was time. 2 hours later, Lily and I sat in the corner booth of a nearly empty diner, while Olivia screen shared her findings from her home office. Her voice crackled over the speakerphone, but her tone was sharp and clear. "I found 6 deleted voice memos and 2 strings of messages that were buried in a folder outside the main chat app," she said. "Marissa's been careful. She doesn't threaten you directly. But listen to this one." She clicked play. Marissa's voice filtered through with that same syrupy tone she'd used in court. "Just be patient, Lily. He won't see it coming. And you don't have to feel bad, he's always been controlling. You're doing the right thing." I looked at Lily. Her head was down. Her face was bright red. "She framed me as abusive," I said, barely containing my anger. Olivia didn't argue. "The language she uses is vague, but the intent is obvious. She's laying groundwork. If she gets the police involved, it'll look like you took Lily out of town without permission, then went dark. But I have custody, which she'll say was manipulated, that you coerced Lily, that she never agreed to the handoff. She's not trying to win back custody. She's trying to burn the whole house down." I took a long breath. "I'm sending it all to Alden." "Do it now," Olivia said, "and keep the originals. If she's serious about this, she's already contacting people. You need to get ahead of it." Detective Alden met us in the back parking lot of a community rec center 2 towns over. Casual clothes, neutral car, no badge on display. He shook my hand. "You said it was urgent." I handed him a flash drive and a printout of the motel note. "This is everything we pulled from Lily's phone. I think Marissa's planning something big, maybe criminal." He scrolled through the file list, listened to a snippet of the voice memo. His face didn't change much, but his jaw twitched. "You didn't coach Lily to say anything, right?" he asked quietly. "No," I said. "She confessed before I even asked. She thought Marissa wanted to say goodbye. That's all." Alden nodded slowly. "This tracks with what I've seen before. Marissa's record isn't clean, but she knows how to make herself look like a victim. Emotional manipulation. Half-truths. I've seen 3 custody setups like this in the last year. What do we do? I'm going to have my team look through this. Quietly. If it's enough, we can open a formal investigation and intercept anything she tries to file. But you need to keep Lily close. Document everything. No contact with Marissa, even if she reaches out again. What about legal action? I asked. Can we stop her from? Don't escalate yet, he cut in. She wants a reaction. If she sees you panic, she wins. I nodded. Then we don't panic. He looked at Lily. You doing okay, kid? She gave a tiny nod. Don't blame yourself for your mom's choices, he said gently. You were trying to do the right thing. That still matters. Back at the motel, I sat on the edge of the bed while Lily scrolled through cartoons on her tablet without watching them. The air felt lighter between us. Still tense, still thick, but no longer poisonous. There was a difference now. We were on the same side. I'm sorry again, she said, eyes on the screen. You don't have to keep saying it, I replied. Just don't hide things anymore. She nodded. I looked at the motel door, half expecting another note, another message. She's not going to stop, I said quietly. Lily looked up. Then we won't either. The knock came just after noon. We were at Olivia's place. Neutral territory, safe, quiet, and filled with the smell of fresh coffee and case files. I hadn't told anyone we were heading there, but it didn't matter. Marissa must have pulled Olivia's address from the old custody filings. She'd been listed as Lily's emergency contact for years, and if that tracker was still active until yesterday, she didn't even need to guess. Then came the knock, firm, official, and hollow. The kind of knock that's never friendly. I opened the door and saw the uniform. My heart sank. Nathan Hale? The deputy asked. I nodded. Yeah. He handed me a thick manila envelope. You've been served. Emergency motion. You'll want to read that right away. Before I could speak, he was already turning back down the steps. The front page of the motion was stamped. Immediate custody review. Emergency removal requested. Filed by Marissa Lennox Hale. Claiming unlawful retention of a minor child, parental instability, and obstruction of visitation. Jesus Christ, Olivia muttered, skimming the pages over my shoulder. It was all there. Twisted versions of real events, manipulated timelines, complete fiction woven through carefully chosen facts. Marissa claimed I'd taken Lily out of state without notice, that I had isolated her, ignored communication attempts, and shown erratic and paranoid behavior. She's framing this like you're off your meds, Olivia said. Like she's rescuing Lily from a breakdown. She's not even supposed to have visitation. I whispered, my voice cracking. She filed it in a different county, Olivia said. Forum shopping. Hail Mary move. The court date? 48 hours. We met Alden that evening in a back conference room at the precinct. He looked tired, but his expression sharpened the second he saw the envelope in my hand. She filed? He asked. I tossed the documents onto the table. She's accusing me of kidnapping. He opened them, started flipping. His brow furrowed deeper with every page. She's baiting the system, he muttered. Using fear language, trauma buzzwords, mental health ambiguity, classic strategy. Especially with dads. I slid a flash drive across the table. That's everything we've got. Memos, deleted messages, timestamps. And this? I reached into my backpack and pulled out the tiny black box Olivia had found taped under Lily's seat. A GPS tracker. Alden's eyes went cold. You're sure this was hers? He asked. She said she just wanted to say goodbye. I said, my voice flat. She knew our exact location within minutes. We didn't post anything. Didn't text anyone. He held the device in his palm like it might bite. This is felony-level surveillance. Not just creepy parenting. This is premeditated. He looked over at Lily, who sat silently beside me, her arms crossed but shaking slightly. I'm sorry, she whispered. You didn't do anything wrong, Alden said gently. Your mom made choices. You got caught in them. He stood, straightened his shirt, and picked up the file. I'm filing for an emergency protective order, he said. We're fast-tracking this to the DA. No more casual handling. She's weaponizing the courts, and if we don't shut this down now, she might disappear with Lily and claim she was rescuing her. The next 24 hours moved like a bullet train on fire. Olivia stayed up all night formatting evidence timelines, screenshotting message headers, highlighting gaps and inconsistencies. We sent everything to Alden in hourly batches. Lily recorded a short statement, explaining in her own words how her mother had manipulated her into sharing their travel plans. By noon the next day, Alden called. We got the judge. The emergency hearing was scheduled. Closed court. Private session. Get your suit ready, Olivia told me. You need to walk in there like you've got nothing to hide. I don't. She gave me a look. That doesn't matter. You need to look like you know it. We told Lily everything. No lies, no sugarcoating. If we go into court and this doesn't go our way, I said carefully, there's a chance she'll get temporary custody. Lily's face went still. You won't let that happen. I'll do everything in my power. But you need to be honest. Calm. Clear. Tell them exactly what happened. She lied, Lily said. I just wanted to believe she meant it. I know. She looked down at her hands, then up at me. I won't protect her anymore. That single sentence hit harder than anything Marissa had ever said. We arrived at the courthouse early, suit jackets, printed evidence packets, shaky coffee hands. Lily clutched a worn notebook to her chest like armor. Olivia wore her paralegal game face. Expressionless, sharp-eyed, lips pressed in a permanent line. I felt like I was walking into a funeral where I wasn't sure if I was burying my ex or the last bit of trust one had in the system. Marissa was already there. She stood by her lawyer, immaculate. Pressed white blouse, pencil skirt, pearl earrings. Not a hair out of place. She looked like the picture of maternal concern. When she turned and caught my eye, she didn't blink. Just that same faint smile I used to see when she'd say something cruel and call it just honesty. Lily went pale. Stick to what you wrote down, I whispered. Tell the truth. Nothing more. She nodded once. Inside the courtroom, everything felt smaller, tighter, like the air was being rationed. Marissa's lawyer went first, painting a picture of concern, regret, and a poor mother unfairly alienated from her daughter. They showed a timeline of messages she'd allegedly sent that I had ignored. They cited erratic road trip behavior, claiming I was intentionally isolating Lily. They even read from a fake journal Marissa had kept, documenting her supposed fear for Lily's safety. My attorney let them finish. He didn't interrupt once. Then he stood, and we dropped the hammer. First came the audio, Marissa's voice, retrieved from Lily's deleted memos. Calm, measured, saying things like, he won't even know we met. Promise. Just say you want snacks. All you have to do is make sure you're both near the gas station. I'll do the rest. If he fights me, we'll make sure the judge sees how unstable he's become. Next came the tracker, introduced with photos and timestamps, the circuit board still warm when Alden found it. Then Lily stood up. Her voice shook, but her words didn't. She explained how her mother reached out in secret, promised change, promised healing, said she missed her, that she'd been in therapy. That was all she wanted was a moment. She said it was just a goodbye, Lily told the judge. That we wouldn't even leave the car. The courtroom was dead silent. Marissa's attorney shifted in his seat. Marissa's face cracked. Just a twitch of the eye. A muscle in her jaw. When asked if she had anything to say in response, Marissa rose slowly and said, My daughter has been brainwashed. This is clearly his influence. He's using her. The judge cut her off mid-sentence. I've heard enough. The ruling was short, direct, brutal. Full custody remains with Mr. Hale, the judge said. Visitation is hereby suspended indefinitely pending further review. This court finds evidence of manipulation, coercion, and intent to interfere with the custodial rights previously granted. Marissa froze like a statue. Her lawyer sat back, lips tight. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. She didn't even look at Lily. She just watched herself lose. Outside, the sun was too bright. The air is too clean. Olivia exhaled for the first time in hours. Our attorney shook my hand, muttered something about solid win, and vanished into the crowd. We didn't say anything for a long time. Then Lily turned to me. Will she ever come back? I looked at her, my daughter, too old for her years now, but still holding on to that worn notebook like a lifeline. She'll try, I said honestly. But next time we'll be ready. She nodded, small but certain, and we walked to the car. Not healed, not whole, but finally free. I hope you enjoyed the story. What would you have done if your own daughter accidentally helped your ex set a trap? Do you think Nathan was right to forgive her that quickly? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love stories where betrayal turns into battle, hit that subscribe button.